Good evening. We are going to go ahead and get started for the sake of time. I am Christine Knapp. I'm one of the school counselors here at Muskego High School. I serve primarily students with the last names G through LA. I will just be kicking off the presentation tonight, and we'll be around afterwards for any questions as well. So some of our other counselors that we have here are Ms. Subcheck, myself, Mrs. Knapp. Ms. Subcheck's in the back. You guys can kind of identify who she is. We don't already know her. Ms. Riegert, who is also one of our new counselors this year. She serves students LE through R, and Ms. Schuett. Just some things we wanted to point out. Our junior students did take the practice ACT on October 24th, so just recently, but the official ACT will be taking place on February 27th. So that will be coming up. In the packet that we had at the table on your way in, it does offer some ACT resources, preparation material, or preparation information to make sure that your student is ready for that test. Another important piece of information regarding the ACT, we do encourage students to include 4 colleges or universities to send their ACT scores to. After they have submitted their ACT, any other additional schools or colleges that they want to submit their scores to will be at an additional cost. So it's important that we get the even if it's just like a reach school or a school that they are definitely planning on attending, we want to make sure that we get that information on there. Students are also able to take the ACT after the one that we offer as well. So you can log on to the ACT website to sign up for any of those tests. And then the colleges will accept the best score. So if your student takes it multiple times, they will be able to use the best score of all of those attempts. So just to kind of summarize the college planning process, our presenters will go over a little bit more about their particular types of colleges or universities. But just to kind of sum it up, step 1, we want our students to be academically prepared. So we want them to understand those freshman admission guidelines or the recommendations. So understanding the difference between just the minimum high school graduation requirements and what specific or particular colleges or universities would require. So going a little bit above and beyond for different colleges and universities, and making sure that we are communicating with them to know exactly what they would want in order to accept our students. The step 2, consider college characteristics. So really understanding your student, what their needs and wants are, and better understanding more about the college or university. So learning more about not only the campus size, but the class sizes, how your student best learns, going over different campus activities to learn more about how your student can get involved, or if they are a student who is interested in getting involved in a particular sport or activity, knowing if that college or university would offer that. Step 3, go ahead and list, compare, and visit different colleges. And you'll probably hear that a lot tonight. Visit, visit, visit. So we want to make sure that students are getting out there, getting a feel for the campus, and really just making sure that they can eventually see that as their home. So we want them to look at different information resources, so whether it's from campus visits or if it's from talking with their high school counselors, or sometimes when we have different colleges visit Muskego High School as well, just gather information as many ways as they possibly can. Step 4, finally when senior year comes around, by this time we're hoping that students have really narrowed down a few colleges or universities or post-secondary plans that they are interested in. So by the time senior year comes around, we want to make sure that we've narrowed down our search, we've narrowed down what it is that we think, or where it is that we think we want to go to, the type of college or university, and then we can start thinking more about which ones will we be setting those ACT scores to, if it is an additional school that we didn't think we wanted before, and just finding out any additional information that we might need to help us get into those. And observe deadlines, of course, I don't want to skip that one. Making sure the college admission deadlines, if your student is thinking about doing the early admission, making sure that you know those deadlines as well as scholarships and things like that. So step 5, develop a plan to pay for the education. This is when we're talking about FAFSA, looking at any savings, your student doing any work study programs through FAFSA, as well as having like a summer job and helping pay for that as well. So some resources for families in the packet that you guys have. It does include most or all of the resources that we would have on our school website. So if you guys were to go onto the Muskego Norway website and then click on Muskego High School, you can go through, under academics, click on student services, And we have all of this information on there as well. That's also where we will be putting the presenters' PowerPoints from tonight, as well as anything that we would be updating for families as well. So all of the information for college or post-secondary planning would all be on there. The MHS student newsletter is something that we do update monthly, so you guys can also find that. And that's a newsletter that we put all of our timely information as far as dates for colleges, post-secondary planning, as well as things within the school. So of course we want to say thank you guys for not only supporting your students, but also in supporting us and getting this information out effectively. It is one of the best ways we can is if you guys can have some direct contact with some of the colleges and universities to help answer some of the questions. So each presenter tonight will have about 10 minutes to present to you guys, and then at the end we will have a question and answer, and then after that they should be at the tables for a few extra minutes if you have any individual or specific questions that you guys wanted to ask them. So tonight we have Christopher Manchesky from the WCTC. He will be talking with us more about our technical colleges and different options and things and opportunities that can present. We have Jillian Grosskreutz from Carroll University. She'll be talking about the independent or private colleges and universities. And we also have Troy Moldenhauer from University of Wisconsin Parkside. So he will be here talking about our 4-year public universities. Thank you.
It works. So you can tell right away I'm a walker. I like to move around. I don't like to be behind the podium. I'll try to sing and dance and entertain you as I go, but I'm not sure how good I am at that. But I'll tell you what, my name's Chris Manchesky. I'm a career coach for Waukesha County Technical College, and I've got a background in understanding in all the pathways that students can take after high school, but the counselors here asked if I'd come and present about the technical college system tonight. So let's get the show on the road, and hopefully, if this goes like other presentations we've done, we might raise some eyebrows here. First thing I want to throw out to you is when I talk to groups, oftentimes we don't always know about the different systems that we have in the state of Wisconsin. So this map here gives you a nice overview. The Wisconsin Technical College system is made up of 16 colleges around the state. We are the largest school system in the state of Wisconsin. We have more students than the UW system, for example. We're bigger than them, student population-wise. This one right here, we have the same accreditation that you're going to find at your UW schools and your WICU schools. We're all accredited by the Higher Learning Commission, which helps to guarantee that the curriculum has rigor and meets high standards. So credits can transfer and that type of thing. We have the same accreditation. Looking at some of the data here, 97% of our grads are either satisfied or very satisfied with their education. 95% of employers that hire our grads are satisfied or very satisfied. 93% of our grads are employed within 6 months of graduation. You've probably heard that typically for employment after high school, you need more than a high school diploma. Not a knock on the high schools. We're just saying you need some additional education, right? The one thing that's often being left out of the sentence there is that 2/3 of jobs require more than high school. You've heard that. But less than a 4-year degree. You might not have heard that. The technical colleges are in position to provide students with the education they need to get into the majority of careers that are out there. Why would you want to think about a WTCS college versus other options? What can we do for you? One of the big things I can tell you is, and I talk to kids about this all the time as a career coach, how do you like to learn? For us, we're going to get you out of your seat. We're going to get you moving around. We're going to get you active, doing what you would be doing in the real world. Our instructors are required, and you see I got it in big bold letters, they're required to have real world experience, period. They cannot teach for us unless they have experience in their area. So if your son or daughter wants to be an accountant, your instructors are accountants. If they want to be a nurse, your instructors are nurses. You got it. They have the academic credentials and the real world experience that they bring into the classroom. Small class sizes, a typical class out by us at CTC is about 15 to 20 students across the system. The average is about 18 to 24, and you're usually never going to find a class bigger than 30. If you want to come to WCTC a little bit later, I'll tell you what, come look at our lecture hall. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't teach classes in that type of facility. So if you want that, and it's not good or bad, and I'm not attacking it, but we don't have that for you. Great paying careers. There's a misnomer out there that says if you want to be successful, if you want to have a great job, if you want to make great money, you have to go down one path. It's not true. You can go down multiple pathways, including apprenticeship, including military. There's all kinds of pathways for great paying careers. The technical college system gets you into great paying careers. Automation systems, associate's degree, so working with robotics. Students that are out in the field 3-4 years are reporting salaries of $60,000, $70,000, $80,000. And on top of that, if they need more schooling, the company says, we'll pay for it, in addition to what we pay you. Affordable tuition. You might hear some numbers tonight. If you go full-time fall, full-time spring, so 15 credits, your tuition is going to come out to around $4,200 for the entire year. Hands down, it's almost impossible to beat. And that figure is before financial aid, it's before grants, it's before loans, it's before scholarships, it's before any kind of assistance. Credit transfer to four-year colleges. We partner well with four-year colleges. We will tell you, depending upon where you want to go in your career, you might need to do additional education at some point. That's fine. We have transfer agreements with virtually all the UW and YCU schools in the state in various programs, so that can be done. Flexible scheduling. Many of our students are part-time because they're working while they're going to school, or their schedule fluctuates each semester. If you want to do that, that's fine. We have some options in many programs where you can do some learning online, or you can do it in the evening or on the weekend. If you don't want to do something traditional, there are traditional classes as well. And then we accept federal financial aid just like any of our colleague institutions in the state. So, big question here, and my colleague Troy from UW System is going to be helping out, which I appreciate. Can I see a show of hands? How many of you have actually been inside a technical college and like checked out the classrooms and things like that? Can I have some hands? So a few, good, all right. Many of you have not. So let's take a look at what learning can look like. Now, we had to improvise a little tonight. I had a different video embedded in my PowerPoint. It looked a little more professional, but we were having some technical issues, so we spotted this WCTC video on YouTube. We're going to give you a shot of what this looks like.
I chose WCTC because I'm a hands-on learner.
My teachers take a personal interest in my success. With the skills I'm learning at WCTC, jobs are in demand.
We learn on state-of-the-art equipment, so I'll be prepared.
Great things happen. Waukesha County Technical College.
You just want to kill the tab there, Troy. Thank you, sir. And thanks for the assist. So everything that you saw there was a classroom. And I want to make sure that I'm clear on that, because I've noticed when I've talked sometimes with parents and students and when I'm career coaching with kids trying to figure out what they want to do, a lot of times they assume that what they just saw was an internship at a business. And yeah, we do some of that too, but everything that you saw there, the girl dressing up in the fire gear, so I just want to tell you, we set things on fire, and they have to put it out. And if they don't put it out, we call Pewaukee Fire Department on 911 and we say, come here right now, there's an emergency and it's real. But don't take my word for it. I won't read these totally, but just take a look here. If any of you ever get down to Milwaukee, you know that Justin runs a pretty high-end restaurant. This guy here, there is one thing that really sticks out. When I mentioned that all the training I received was from a 2-year technical school and not some fancy or expensive 4-year college university, co-workers here in Europe are often shocked that I received so much quality training in such a vast array of disciplines in such a short time. And Amy illustrates someone that took advantage of doing some schooling with WCTC and then completing some additional education at a 4-year partner, which was Marquette. So your technical colleges are going to be broken down into different schools. I threw some WCTC info in here because it would be easy to relate to. I know it really well. We offer associate's degrees, diplomas, and short-term certificates. A certificate usually takes about half a year to a year, a diploma somewhere between 1 to 2 years, an associate's degree somewhere between 2 to 3 years. To give you a rough timetable, depends on how many classes you take each semester. The schools, what are some things you'd see? When we're done today, if you want to grab, I've got some magazines on the table, they say College Connections. They show all the programs that CTC offers. There is a technical colleges guide out on the table, so make sure you grab one of those and you can see some of the different career areas. In summary, applied technologies tends to be your traditional sort of tech areas, like if you think about manufacturing, welding, automotive, tool and die, that type of stuff. School of Business is probably the most unknown school that you'll find in the technical colleges. So can you do things like business management, human resources, accounting, real estate, marketing, culinary, IT? All that's done through the School of Business. School of Health, nursing, phlebotomy, surgical technologist, dental hygienist. Those are examples of the different things that you're going to find in there. By the way, I talk about nursing sometimes. To be a nurse in Wisconsin, does anybody know what you need to do? Got some nurses out there? No? So when I get 10 people together and I kind of pin them down and I say, what do you have to do? They say, go to nursing school. I'm like, yeah, I get that. What do you have to do? Tell me more. They're not quite sure. To be an RN, not an LPN, to be an RN, a registered nurse, you're required to have an associate's degree in nursing and pass the state exam to get your RN license. In fact, if you do an associate's in nursing and you do a bachelor's in nursing, you take the exact same test. School of Protective and Human Services, police, fire, EMS, early childhood education, cosmetology. There are others. Go to Fox Valley Tech if you want to be a pilot, they have that. Madison Area Technical College, you want to do something with helping out a vet, you want to be like a veterinary assistant or a vet technologist, you can do that. So programs will vary a little bit from school to school. We're student focused. You're going to find all the services that you would find at a college or university that you might think of at the 4-year level. So assistance with admissions or academic advising, career development, library tutoring resources. Tutoring on our campus, if you need help in a subject, like let's say you need help in math, you sign up week 1, you pay about a $5 fee, you can come in for as much math help as you want for the semester, and you don't pay another fee for that subject. It's hard to beat. Example of some of the schools that we partner with, there's a whole lot more, but you've probably heard of some of those names, right? It looks more complicated than it is. Application fee, high school transcript. And then typically we're going to look for proficiency in English, reading, and math. So an ACT will usually suffice for that. If ACT is not going to cut it, we also have an exam we can have you take called AccuPlacer. And some of the technical colleges are now starting to take a GPA. So some of my counselor friends in here too, this is new news for you. You may not have heard this. But as of this spring, WCTC is also looking at if you have a 2.6 GPA or higher cumulative, we'll also accept that to demonstrate proficiency in those areas. So I encourage you and I challenge you today, if you've heard a few things and we've raised your eyebrow a little bit where you're like, that's interesting, really? I'm not sure I believe what that guy said. There's an open house coming up in a few weeks. Come take a look. I know MATC's got an open house. MATC Milwaukee has an open house the same night. I want to say it's at their downtown campus. Most of the technical colleges will have open houses similar to this. You also can set up personalized tours and mini tours. When people come to the campus for the first time, I kid you not, what do we usually hear? No joke. I never knew that school could be like this. And they say it with a smile. And they're like, I'm so glad I came here today because you have changed my whole outlook on what I could do. I hope this is helpful for you today. We're going to pass over to my next colleague. Thank you for your time and attention, folks.
I'm not allowed to hold anything. I don't hold the mic and I don't hold the clicker because I talk too much with my hands and I throw everything. And I don't want to wreck your stuff. All right, I'm Julian Gross-Grice from Carroll University. I'm Director of Admission. Also an alum of Carroll. I've been at Carroll since I graduated, actually, so I never left. I loved it so much. So I'm here actually to talk about Wisconsin private colleges, the WACU colleges, in a more general sense. I may include a little bit of Carroll information because that's what I know best, but certainly I will try my best to answer questions you might have about other private colleges, just based on my experience with them. 24 campuses, you can see them all listed there. I was told I should make sure I plug the guide, which is out on the table. If you didn't grab one, make sure you do. It's got a nice little profile of each college in there with size, some basic cost information. There's a very fun and colorful graph back here if you want to get out your magnifying glass to look at those. But this basically is outlining which colleges have which particular majors you might be looking for. So just kind of an overall nice guide to take a look at. Some of the things we like to highlight when it comes to the private colleges. Personalized education. This is something every private college is going to focus on. You can see that average class size is around 16. Obviously, you know, what we want to keep in mind is that there are a multitude of campuses. So, of course, a place like Marquette may have larger class sizes. Other schools may have smaller class sizes. I mean, we're looking at a range of enrollment from, on the low end, maybe 500 total undergrads, and on up from there to Marquette with over 8,000. So just something to keep in mind, because obviously they're not all exactly the same, just as UW system schools are not all the same. We do participate in interactive hands-on learning. That's a big deal to us. We know more and more that having internship and work experiences is key to finding employment after you graduate with your four-year degree. So we want to make sure that students are getting that through their internships, through work experiences. I know at Carroll, many of our majors require an internship, so it's not a matter of if you will get one, but which one are you going to take. Those that don't require it certainly do encourage it as well. You can see the plethora of academic programs. 421 are offered. Most are direct admit. What direct admit means is that when you apply to the college, you're accepted right into the program that you're interested in. So there are definitely going to be some exceptions across different campuses. Usually when you get into more competitive programs in the health sciences, you may find There is a separate process for that. Perhaps education, again, every school is different, but something that's definitely noteworthy. We do try to make a point of getting students early exposure. So we want students to get courses within the major area of interest right away freshman year. Let you try it out, see what you think, and if it's not the right path, we'll get you switched over to something else. Many students think of private colleges and think small. Obviously, they aren't all small, and there certainly are some distinct advantages to going to a small school, but we want students to remember there are clubs and organizations on campus. Carroll, with an enrollment of about 2,800 full-time students, offers over 50 clubs on campus. We offer 22 sports, so there still is a lot of opportunity there for students to continue in extracurricular activities. Community service and leadership, more and more we're seeing a demand for that from our students. It's something they do in high school or starting even younger, and something that's important to them to continue on in their college years. So many of us are meeting those needs by creating additional offices on campus and making service experiences and service learning more of the educational experience. Travel. A lot of students, at least at your point where you're just starting to think about colleges, having considered study abroad. That's definitely something you want to think about. Is that something you could see yourself doing? There's a variety of ways to do that, from traditional study abroad, where you're going for just a semester away to another university and taking classes, or perhaps a short-term study abroad, where you might go with a group of students and faculty who lead the trips. So these are all experiences you want to consider as you're looking at a variety of colleges. What it's going to come down to for many students is prioritizing their list of wants, needs, where you see yourself succeeding. That's the key, is finding the best place for you that you think you will succeed academically and reach your end goal. We put up that percent faster graduation rates. You are definitely more likely to graduate in 4 years. There's not going to be a guarantee. Students change their minds on majors all the time, and all kinds of things happen. But we do, again, do our best to get students out in a reasonable amount of time. We have lots of high demand fields. Again, private colleges, smaller colleges does not equal just liberal arts education courses of study. So we do go beyond that. You'll see the percentages of engineering degree, business, health professionals, nursing, and many of our campuses do additionally offer a wide range of graduate programs as well. So that's something to keep in mind as well. So we already kind of touched on the internships. Career services, absolutely. At Carroll, we have a career services office. They do workshops and seminars. They'll look at your resume. They take students to job fairs. Students who graduate and are alums can come back and use the career services for their entire lifetime. So at any point in time that you want to come in and get some additional help, some additional services, we welcome you to come back and do that. Here's the biggie, right? This is the part you all want to hear about, but I'm not independently wealthy, so I cannot afford to go to a private college. What we encourage is for all students, regardless of what school you're looking at, look at your dream school. Look at the private colleges that you think might financially be out of your reach. We want you to go through the process and due diligence when it comes to going through the college search process. 96% of students did receive financial aid. So again, virtually everybody who applies for financial aid is receiving financial aid. There's a very small percentage of families who can come in and say, now we can just pay that whole price, we don't need any help. Very, very rare. So we are aggressive when it comes to grants, scholarships, work study. Private colleges have more sources that we can pull financial aid from, so that's why you're going to see a higher sticker price, if you will, and then we'll start knocking that down with the financial aid. Here's the number, $5,500. That's the average out-of-pocket just for tuition. Please remember that. This does not include room and board, okay? So you can see what the average tuition and fees across all private colleges are. Again, everybody's different. There are definitely some of those privates that are more expensive, some that are less expensive. And then see that average financial aid package with 77% grant money, which is your free money that you're going to get that you don't have to pay back. So with that out-of-pocket tuition expense of $5,500, we don't include the room and board. everybody is pretty standard when it comes to that. When you look at private schools, public schools, it doesn't matter. Everybody's going to be about in the 10 to 12,000 per year range. So that you can count on pretty much anywhere you go. So let's add that onto that 5,500, and we're up to about 15-ish, right? So the reason I say make sure you go through the process, because no, not everybody is paying $15,000 a year to go to the private school. Some pay a little less, some pay a little more. It depends on several factors. It's your merit, so your academics from high school, that's going to dictate a lot of those scholarships that you receive. And then financial need is definitely a component that gets looked at as well. So just go through that FAFSA process and make sure that you go through the whole thing. Talk with the schools, of course, as they can assist you through that process too. So if you go onto the website, wisconsinprivatecolleges.org, there's lots of fun tools, ways you can search for schools based on a variety of factors. Of course, we always encourage visits at any of our colleges. Everybody does, again, a little bit different setup for their visits. At the smaller schools and even at Carroll, we do everything individually. So if you want to come visit with us, we will set you up a one-on-one tour with a current student. You can sit down with faculty. You'll meet with an admission counselor to get more information about the area of study you might be interested in. We'll show you the res halls. You can try out our food. So you can spend the day just kind of immersed in the college. There will also be opportunities for open houses. Of course, lots of those going on at this time of year, so make sure you check those out too. That's a great way, especially as juniors, to start getting a feel for colleges and what you might be looking for. You can do it in a very unintimidating way. Just kind of blend into the crowd and soak in the information, and then come back and do a second visit at the top schools that interest you, where you can do more one-on-one and ask your specific questions. So Private College Week, July 9th through the 14th in 2018, so that's a ways off, but we'll send you reminders. This is basically when we sponsor the WACU colleges. Many of them will waive application fees if you go visit during that week. They may have special visit opportunities going on during that week. At Carroll, we treat you really well no matter when you come visit. So you're welcome to come during that time. I personally think the best time to visit is when school is in session. Usually you get excused absences. They get those here, right, for visiting colleges? She goes, well, yeah, kind of. So take a day. You can do at least 2 in a day if you wanted to, or take advantage of days off from school to go and visit those colleges. It's really going to give you a better feel for the atmosphere that you might be interested in, and see what you really think of school once there's students buzzing around. I think that's extremely helpful. I will be at my table again. I will do my best to answer questions about other private colleges you may want to know about. Certainly, Carroll's my expertise. I'm happy to talk about Carroll at any time. But if you have questions, feel free to reach out. And Troy is up. You're up, Troy. Do you want me to bring this up? Don't touch it. Oh, I love my guy.
Okay, when you work in higher education, you become friends with people and you can banter with them an awful lot, which is really enjoyable. So, well, good evening, folks. I'm so glad that all of you are here. My name is Troy Moldenhauer. I'm the Director of Admission at UW Parkside. This is my 24th year in higher education. I literally have worked all over the country, both private and public, and so I'll be talking about UW system, but one of the things I like to do is be the last speaker, is to kind of bring some of the things culminating. And you are all really lucky here in Wisconsin. We have an amazing educational system in Wisconsin. It is unheard of throughout the country to have partnerships that we can be friends with people at private colleges and universities, Wisconsin technical colleges. We get on really well, we play really well together, we have great relationships, and so you have a really good opportunity for education in the state of Wisconsin. I want to talk about a few things. If you may have gotten one of the UW system booklets at the table out there, this speaks of all the UW system schools, which is all the state colleges and universities in Wisconsin. There are 13 four-year universities, and there are 13 two-year colleges. The two-year colleges all have a general education curriculum where students get an associate's degree that feeds directly into one of the four-year institutions. This book is very helpful. UW System, there's an office called UW Help. It's a higher education location program. They can assist you in getting into any of these schools. Our individual campuses can do so as well. One thing new this year that UW Help did for the students and families is developed an app. So whether you have an iPhone or an Android, you're welcome to go to your Play Store and download the UW Journey app. And you can actually look at, let's say you're interested in UW Parkside, where I'm at, you can actually send messages to UW Parkside, gather information through that app. It's a really great search engine. There's also something called Major Mania. And so very similar to WACU and the Wisconsin Technical Colleges in this book, there's a grid or online to find every major that is offered within the state school system. Major Mania is searchable, which is very helpful because the students are able to type in general interest things. Let's say you're interested in something very obscure, like my son wants to be a forensic anthropologist. There's only 3 schools in the whole country that offer that. And so he will be shipped off to Pennsylvania, it seems like. But you definitely are able to search in that and find exactly what you're interested in doing, okay? So I want you, when you're doing those Major Mania searches for academic programs and such, I want you to be realistic and find the campuses that you can visit. The #1 predictor of student success is students making a connection to their college. How do you do that? By visiting. I will tell you that when we do our publications, so I work with our marketing team to do the brochure that's on Parkside's table. It took us 18 months to create that publication. We do photo shoots, we look for green grass, all that kind of stuff. Our websites are all designed, marketing related to make our campus appealing to our students and family members. So we want people on our campus to actually visit and see if it's a good fit for you. Research also shows that if you visit on a rainy day or snowy day, you are more likely to not choose that school. So if you visit on a rainy day, go back again. Okay, honestly, it is a big deal because you know that not having the sun and that kind of is a really big influence for students. But visiting is a really big important piece. And students fit. So I talk a lot about that gut feeling. You know, is it the campus for me? You're gonna know if it is or not. I remember when I was visiting college campuses, I'm from a really, really, really little town, like 900 people, and there's only one campus that I visited that people said hi to me. Well, when I'm in my hometown, you walk down the middle of the street, every car stops and says hi to you, right? And so I chose a school that people said hi to me on the sidewalk and that had a reputation for a good academic program for what I was going into, okay? So definitely visit campuses, look at the school sizes, that sort of thing too. I want to talk a little bit about academics, and I want students to recognize the fact that you don't have to have a major going into college right away if you're going to one of our 4-year institutions. We have a general education curriculum that students do their first and some of their second year. And research, there's some new research out this past year that shows that students that go into college undecided to a 4-year university graduate at faster and higher rates, okay? So Jill had put a statistic up there about graduation rates, and you really have to look at the graduation rates of the schools you're interested in. But you also have to know that some of that national data can be skewed a little bit. Graduation rates for students can only be factored in for first-time freshmen, so you cannot have transferred from one school or another. You can only be counted if you start that school as a freshman and go all the way through, and that you've had 12 credits or full-time every single semester. I worked with a student last semester he was graduating 4 years. His last semester, he took 11.5 credits. He is not factored into our 4-year graduation rate at UW Parkside because he had 1 semester of under full-time enrollment. So we have great graduation rates in the 4-year schools, in the UW system and in the private schools, and great graduation rates in our technical schools as well. So you have to look at that a little bit. But knowing that if you go in undecided, you are not disadvantaging yourself because that first year, you're taking a lot of general education courses. Take things that interest you, that you're really like, you know, this is kind of far out there, but I think I'm gonna do really good in it and I might like it. And that might be a good fit for you. Don't do what I did. Okay, so I wasn't going to go to college. I was a first-generation student. My mom worked at a grocery store, my dad worked at a factory, and starting my freshman year, I had a really good work ethic. I got a job at the grocery store that was her full-time career. By the time I was a junior, I was a manager, an assistant manager at the store. I thought it was the best job ever. Sunday mornings, I worked with my mom and I was her boss. I was making $3.35 an hour, dream job, right? Whew. I did earn a lot of money for college there, but I thought that's what I was going to do. It was the beginning of my senior year, and our school librarian came up to me and said, Troy, where are you going to school? I said, I'm not going to school. She goes, no, where are you going to school? I said, I'm not. She took me to a teacher that ganged up on me and took me to the school counselor. My school counselor took me on college visits. My school counselor sat with me and helped me apply for colleges and universities. I got into some, I got denied to some, but he was there to guide me. So you've got to explore, you got to get out there. But I thought I had to choose a major. I had a crush on a girl named Stephanie, and I said, Stephanie, I'm going to college. What are you going to study? She said, Troy, I'm going to be a speech therapist. I said, are you kidding me? So am I. So I now have a degree in speech and language pathology. And as a first-generation student, I really wasn't clear on, okay, I'm going to kind of let my parents down if I change my major. I don't know that I really want to be a speech and language pathologist. I love it. It was a great field for me. However, you have to have a master's degree in order to practice. And when I was applying for graduate schools, I thought, you know what, I really like this college gig. You know, college is a lot of fun. I learned a ton. And so you actually can have a degree in college administration. And so I went out and got a degree in that instead of speech therapy. But my point is, you don't have to know exactly what you're interested in going into, okay? You can explore. So how to plan. I think it's really important for students to think a little bit about plan. There's a lot of students that know I need to take 4 years of English, I need to take 3 years of math, I need to take 3 sciences, 3 social sciences, maybe a foreign language. But you have to think about that now. How many of you are juniors or younger? I'm not going to call on you, just raise your hand. Okay, how many of you are seniors? Okay, by the time you're senior, your rolls around is too late. I was in that situation. I took 1 math class prior to my senior year. We only needed 2 math classes to graduate, and guess how many you need to get into college? 3. So I had to take geometry and algebra 2 my senior year together. Boy, was that fun, right? Okay, so plan ahead. So those of you who are juniors or sophomores or freshmen, start planning ahead. So Wisconsin has done a lot of research on math. Mathematics is one of the biggest killers of student success their freshman years of college, because students don't plan in high school. I'll use my son as an example. I have 5 kids, 3 are in high school. I have a senior, a junior, and a sophomore. My son, who is a junior right now, he's in pre-calc. And he's like, you know what, Dad, I can end now, right? I don't need to do calc next year. Absolutely not. You have to do math your senior year. The research with the state of Wisconsin, with UW System Schools, students that have gone through calculus or pre-calc through their junior year and done no math their senior year end up doing developmental mathematics their freshman year of college, even if you went all that way through the math series, just by skipping 1 year of math. So plan your senior year. That rigor is so incredibly important. So take honors classes, take AP classes, take courses above and beyond the typical 17 units, okay? Read your textbooks. So I was a faculty member at UW-Whitewater for quite a number of years, and I taught freshman classes. And I always told my students, you know what, I'm really hard on students at the beginning of the semester, and then when all your other teachers are really hard on you at the end of the semester, I go a little bit easier. And so I always told my students, you know, we will have I always taught night classes. So second class, you have to have 4 chapters read, and we're gonna have an active discussion. I tell you, students always came and they never read, and I'd always give them a pop quiz, because you have to read your textbooks. Plan for college. Start doing that in high school. It's funny, I say to students, how many of you study? And a lot of people don't raise their hand, even though their family members and their teachers are in the room. But start planning for that. That's really important, okay? Apply early. So within the UW system, you can begin your application August 1st of your senior year, the summer before your senior year. However, you can't actually apply until September 1st, okay? And we can't process your applications until September 15th. So it gives you a month and a half to kind of play in the application, write your essay, get everything down. We find so many students skip sections of their application all the time. Please don't skip stuff. I met with a student on Monday. Okay, it is the end of October. We've been in school for 2 months already, and I met with a student on Monday because we made him an out-of-state student. He's paying double tuition because he skipped the entire section of his application that talked about in-state or out-of-state. He just didn't feel like doing it. So he's paying double tuition, and he just came to talk to me. I can't do anything about it because it's already after the appeal time. So students, don't skip anything. When it asks for your parents' information if they have filed Wisconsin state income taxes. If a lot of students are doing this at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, don't wake them up. Wait till the morning, enter that information, and then submit it. So don't skip sections of your application. It's so important, no matter where you're going, okay? Personal statement. Write a solid personal statement. We want you to be college ready. This is a college readiness essay. This is not something to write a lot of LOLs and smiley faces on, okay? And I trust me, we get a ton of LOLs. We even get some other abbreviations that are 3 letters that start with W. I don't understand. This is a college readiness essay. That is no business on your college application whatsoever. This should be about 600 words. It should be talking about academics. It should be talking about your goals and aspirations. Now, in the UW system, we have what's called a comprehensive review. We are not able to say, here's your GPA, here's your ACT score, you're in or you're out. We look at your ACT, we look at your GPA, but we look at the courses that you've taken, we look at academic rigor, what hard courses have you taken, we look at your trends in grades. Did you start low and get better? Did you start high and get worse? Did you start out 3.0 all the way across? We look at the trends in your GPA. We read every word of your statement. I'm using my son as an example. My son, we've been working on his essay. I know he's a junior already, but I'm a planner. So my son, was a 4.0 student all the way through school, right? Very, very bright. And his freshman year, he had 2 brain surgeries, and his sophomore year, he had 2 brain surgeries. So last year, his GPA dipped to a 2.89, and he panicked. He had no idea what was happening. So now he's back up and stuff, but he doesn't want to write about that in his essay. You know, go from a 4.0 to a 2.89 and back up to a 4.0. Colleges are going to say, what is going on with this kid? Is he lacking motivation? Did he skip school? Was he truant? So there's all these assumptions that we can get. So I want you to take that into consideration and write about life experiences. I had a young man who had a 3.5 freshman year, 3.5 sophomore year, 1.7 junior year, wrote nothing in his essay. I called him and he said that his father passed away at the beginning of the year. I kind of understand why he had a 1.7. So those are things that you have to write about as part of the comprehensive review, because we can take stuff like that into consideration, okay? And letters of recommendation. How many parents are here? Just raise your hand, and grandparents. Please do not write a letter for your student. Oh my gosh, I had one grandma write like a 3-page letter, and I promise you that Johnny is the best. I am not biased. She made an appointment to bring the letter to me to plead. This student was a 3.5 student. He didn't need a letter from grandma, okay? So letters should be from academic resources. They should be from your teachers. They can be from employers and coaches and things, talking about work ethic and stuff. But a lot of letters we get just say that the students are really nice. We love character, we want you to be nice, we want you to fit into our campuses, but they really need to be academic in nature and talk about what you're doing to prepare for college and what you've done to succeed in college. Okay, dream big. I like to talk about this. No matter how you feel, get up, dress up, show up, and never give up. Because students so often, especially with millennials now, are not taking education seriously. My first job out of graduate school, I could wear whatever I wanted. I could wear shorts, I could wear t-shirts. I wore a shirt and tie every single day. And you know what? I was the first person in my department to get a promotion. And so those are some of the things, students, you have to think about that kind of stuff. I had a student quit my office on Monday because she wore, 3 days in a row, she wore a hat and ripped jeans. I'm an admissions office. I really feel that it's very important to be presenting yourself well. And I hire students that they can be paraprofessionals, that they're getting experience to the real world. She quit because I wouldn't let her wear a hat and ripped up jeans to school. I'm sorry, but that's part of the real world, okay? And so I want you students to think about that, you know? Really have that mentality of go get them and do the best that you can in school, do the best that you can in the jobs that you have, and do the best that you can in applications, okay? So, I don't want to lecture any of you, but I think it's really important for you to understand all of the lessons that you can learn while you're in high school. I was one of those students that didn't learn, and now the reason I went into higher education is because I want to help students. I want to help students get into college. I want to help them achieve their dreams. Students with a 4-year bachelor's degree on average make $1 million more than just a high school graduate, and students that graduate with a master's degree on average make $2 million more in their career time. And so think about the education that you can get, and think about the potential for you providing for you and your family someday, okay? So we are, at this point, we are all going to come up, I believe, and do some questions and answers. I will tell you too, you have a great high school here. The faculty and staff here are so committed to working with the students, really helping you get to achieve your dreams that we talked about. I've known Ms. Subcheck for 20 years probably, 17 years, and she is literally one of the best counselors in the entire state of Wisconsin. She is known by every admissions director, and the other two are close behind, even though they're new to the school, just so you know. But you are really lucky here, very, very much. So thank you so much, and if you have questions.
I have a question. Mrs. Subcheck, who's your favorite admission counselor?
So I guess that's Jill.
Okay, you guys can ask questions. Are there any questions for any of the presenters tonight? Okay, just a reminder that they will be at their tables for any specific questions if there's anything that pertains to your student or your family that you'd like to ask them about. We'll go ahead and close the presentation otherwise.
Thank you all.
Oh, question?
I know, and I can't think of the name of the program where, like, as a senior, they can go to, I don't know if it's WCTC and.
Are you talking about youth options or course options?
I don't know if anybody else wants to hear it, or I can ask how they're doing.
Sure, we can talk about that a little bit. So students are able to take courses through technical school for high school and college credit. If it's a course that's something that's different than what we offer here at the high school.
And that's reimbursed by, or it's
Paid, completely paid for by the district. There is an application process that has to go through the school board as well. So it is somewhat involved in making sure, again, deadlines are a big deal with that as well. School counselors can help students get the packets and the information for that. And then students do work directly with the school, with the tech school to go through that process. Yeah, you guys can do it through any of this, But she's mentioned WCTC, I believe, yeah.
I just, where I work, one of the counselors and had meant she works for WCTC, so I didn't know if it is available at the other.
Yeah, so any course that would be different at a college or university, different from what we offer here. Yep. Yeah.
Just so you know though too, so those of you who are juniors, sophomores, or freshmen in the room, with a new governor's budget, the Youth Options and Course Options program for fall of 2018 is changing in Wisconsin. It's being called Early College Credit. We are not specific with all of the details yet, but course options will be eliminated from the state program. For higher education, it will be available for secondary education, not for higher education. And then youth options will be just called early college credit.
And to your question, ma'am, specifically WCTC and many of the technical colleges, we have developed another program called Dual Enrollment Academy, and it's possible that is what you may have heard of. So with DEA, and not to be confused with Drug Enforcement Agency, Dual Enrollment Academy, with DEA, the student has the opportunity to take a large number of college credits while they're a senior in high school. Depending upon the program, they can usually get somewhere between 20 to 30 college credits in that year. The basic structure is Monday through Friday, they come out to WCTC and do the classes. And then in the afternoon, they return to their high school to do any remaining requirements they have. The student is typically responsible for transportation, so being able to get back and forth is important. I do know there is, I want to say there's one district, I think, in the county that actually does provide transportation. But by and large, it's gonna have to be the family's responsibility. And to illustrate the power of what you're describing, and I don't wanna get everyone's hopes too high, but this past year, there was a young lady that went to school in the county at one of the high schools. Her mom and dad and her were really on top of these dual credit opportunities. So she took advantage of course options, youth options, and Dual Enrollment Academy, okay? And Dual Enrollment Academy is not available in all areas. She happened to pick one that was. And this is gonna sound crazy, but it's absolutely true. In May of 2017, so this last May, she walked across our stage and earned her associate's degree. And this was in a culinary area. In June, she walked across her high school stage and got her high school diploma. So if the options are available through DEA and then you can combine it with some of those other programs, you really can do phenomenal things. And I want to piggyback on what Troy said too. You know, we're all keeping an eye on the state making some changes. So I concur with my colleagues completely. The new program, ECO, we've heard as well, that's going to be typically for the four-year colleges. There is going to be an option for the Wisconsin Technical College system as well. I believe it's going to have a different name though, and I can't tell you exactly what it is at the moment. So you will still have opportunities for all the systems. Okay, does that help you?
And when you have taken those credits though in high school, whether they're dual enrollment or not, when you're applying to institutions, you do have to send a separate transcript. You won't be able to send just high school. You'll have to send a WCTC transcript or whatever school, because we're all offering dual options in all the systems. So.
Is there still reciprocity relationship with Minnesota?
Yes, there is. And reciprocity in Minnesota, if you choose to go to Minnesota, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. If you choose to go to Minnesota, Minnesota charges you the UW-Madison tuition rate, which is the highest tuition rate of the UW system schools.
There's actually a little bit of information on that on one of the last pages in the handout as well, just with some links and information regarding that, places to guide you.
And when you do that, it's not an automatic reciprocity. You have to apply for it through the state of Wisconsin, and it's a pretty automatic process, but you have to be granted it. You can't just go to the Minnesota school and expect to pay that rate. You apply through it for Wisconsin. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you very much, you guys. Like I said before, they will be at the tables, and some of the counselors will be out there as well if you guys have questions regarding high school environments.